We've all heard of Atlantis. For many, it's a mystical, lost kingdom deep under the ocean, home to an advanced civilization. And why not? After all, we can't be totally sure about what lies beneath the waves. As of 2025, only a small fraction of the ocean has been explored. In fact, only about 5% has been directly studied, and only around 24.9% of the seafloor has been mapped using modern technology. This leaves the majority of the ocean shrouded in mystery. While storytellers and filmmakers have long indulged in the idea of this mysterious city, today I want to explore the origins of Atlantis. Where was it? Why did it sink? Who were the Atlanteans? Subscribe to Lost Mythology, and you will wake up in Atlantis tomorrow morning. The story of Atlantis begins with the ancient Greek philosopher Plato, who mentioned it in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias around 360 BC. In these works, Plato's uncle Critias recounts a story passed down to him by his grandfather Dropides, who heard it from an Athenian traveler named Solon. Solon visited Egypt around 580 BC, where he allegedly heard the tale from an Egyptian priest. The priest claimed that the events of Atlantis occurred around 9,000 years earlier, placing the story at around 9,500 BC. However, this presents a problem. By this time, Athens hadn't even existed yet, as this period predates the development of agriculture and permanent settlements in the region. Plato's version of the Atlantis story describes a great war between two civilizations located on opposite sides of the Strait of Gibraltar. He clarifies that while Atlantis was not related to the Greeks, they were given Greek names for easier understanding. According to Plato, the gods divided the earth and built temples for worship. Within Poseidon's realm lay the island of Atlantis, which was larger than Libya and Anatolia, modern-day Turkey. The island featured a fertile plain and a small mountain at its center, where the family of Evenor and Leucippe lived. Their daughter, Plato, came of age when her parents passed away, and she wandered the island alone, catching the attention of Poseidon, who fell in love with her. Poseidon, to protect Plato from outsiders, created two concentric rings of land around a mountain and plain, with water separating them. He also created hot and cold springs and ensured that the island had all the food and animals its inhabitants could need. Poseidon and Plato had 10 demigod sons, 5 sets of twins, and divided Atlantis into 10 sections, giving the eldest son the rule of the largest and most central part of the island. The firstborn, Atlas, became the king, and the surrounding ocean was named the Atlantic after him. The island's name, Atlantis, is derived from Atlas, though some believe it means daughter of Atlas, due to the feminine form of the name, though it was customary to name islands in the feminine form. Each generation of Atlantean rulers followed a strict rule. No prince or king could wage war against one another. At the island's center stood a column inscribed with the laws, alongside an oath that would curse anyone who broke them. Atlantis was also famous for its abundant supply of a valuable metal called auric malcolm, which was second only to gold in worth. However, it was not considered to have mystical properties, only that it was highly valuable. As time passed, the Atlantean Empire expanded, with the sons of Poseidon ruling over various islands, stretching as far as Egypt and modern-day Italy. The Atlanteans built temples, bridges, walls, and canals, growing their empire with each generation. Yet, as the empire flourished, the divine bloodline began to weaken, and the rulers became more human in their nature. This human greed and misuse of power eventually led to a war with Athens. Unfortunately, the end of Plato's second dialogue is missing, but the first dialogue summarizes what happened to Atlantis. According to the story, the Olympian gods, noticing the greed and corruption of the Atlantean kings, convened to decide their fate. The climax of the story sees Poseidon unleashing a massive earthquake that sinks Atlantis in a single night. At the heart of Plato's tale is a warning. Even the most prosperous civilizations can collapse if they succumb to greed, arrogance, and injustice. This serves as a contrast to the Athenians, whom Plato idealized as embodying a simpler, more virtuous way of life. Through this contrast, Plato suggests that true greatness is not found in wealth or military power, but in justice and the cultivation of a harmonious society. While some believe Atlantis was a real historical place, Plato was a philosopher, not a historian. His story is filled with uncertainties, and there's no external evidence to support his claims, especially about the ancient Egyptian records. Additionally, the timeline Plato suggests of a war between Athens and Atlantis 9,000 years before Solon's visit would place this in the Stone Age, a time when Athens didn't even exist. Plato's story, while intriguing, seems to blend fiction with philosophical exploration, using the myth of Atlantis to engage with deeper questions about human nature, justice, and societal values. The story has evolved over time, with modern versions often focusing less on the aggressive ambitions of the Atlanteans and more on their eventual decadence. Today, Atlantis is often portrayed as a civilization that destroyed itself through misuse of advanced technology, reflecting contemporary concerns about the dangers of technological progress. The legendary metal Plato described as valuable is often now imagined to have magical or super tech qualities, which wasn't the case in Plato's original story. Furthermore, modern versions of the myth suggest that the survivors of Atlantis didn't perish with the island, but rather thrived, living secretly underwater with advanced technology, waiting for the right moment to emerge. This shift reflects modern hopes, fears, and values about technology and environmental balance. Despite numerous theories, no definitive proof of Atlantis has been found. Some speculate that the Eye of the Sahara in Mauritania could be Atlantis, as it looks similar to Plato's description, but most scholars dismiss this idea. Others point to the ancient land bridge of Doggerland, which submerged under the North Sea, as a more plausible location, although it doesn't align with Plato's account. So, was Atlantis real? Were its inhabitants once part of human history? Or is it just a myth meant to teach us about the dangers of hubris and greed? The mystery continues, and the story of Atlantis still captures our imagination today. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Stay tuned for more lost mythology in the next videos.